These are the flags of every country in North America. Some of them are good, and some of them are not. I have decided to rank them in order from worst to best because that's just what I do with my creative writing degree. A quick disclaimer, I'm not including territories of other countries because, well, I didn't want to. So, sorry to the 5,000 people who live in Montserrat. Okay, so basically every country that uses its coat of arms on its flag is automatically placed in D tier, with the exception of one. Why? Because using your coat of arms in your flag is lazy and means you weren't creative enough to put together a well-designed flag. Anyway, the worst flag in North America goes to Haiti. Haiti, I'm sorry, I know you guys are having a rough time, but this flag is just as unoriginal as it gets. Not only did you guys decide to put your coat of arms on your flag, but the blue and red color scheme is literally lifted from the French flag, who you revolted against in one of the most historically significant revolutions in the past 500 years. There's so much opportunity for a unique design, and it's disappointing that you never took advantage of it. The cannons are pretty cool though. Alright, so number 22, 21, and 20 are all pretty much tied because of how similar their flags are, those three being Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Guatemala respectively. But first, some context as to why these flags are so similar. So in the early 19th century, the Central American countries were controlled by the Spanish Empire. But in 1821, these 5 countries said, and formed their own sovereign state, called the Federal Republic of Central America, and adopted this as their flag. It lasted until 1838, when Nicaragua separated from the Union, followed by Costa Rica and Honduras. So that's why their flags look similar. Anyway, Nicaragua did the least amount of change to their flag by simply slapping their coat of arms in the center with a totally not suspicious looking triangle. El Salvador nudges into 21st because they changed their blue to a slightly darker blue. And their coat of arms has a cool hat from the French Revolution, which inspired a lot of the revolutions in Central America. And then we have Guatemala, falling down onto 20th place because it decided it wasn't like the other Federal Republic of Central America countries. It was going to be quirky and weird by having the stripes go vertical to represent the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans on either side of the country. Alright, so who do we have in 19th? Oh god, hi Belize! Quite a coat of arms you got there. I thought about ranking it lower on this list, but honestly, at least they had the guts to be proud about their coat of arms, whereas other countries just stick a tiny JPEG of it in the center and hope no one notices. And at least the color scheme has some symbolism to it by representing the political parties. The blue represents the People's Union Party, which was going to be the only color until the United Democratic Party was like, we want to be on the flag too, please? Can we be on the flag? So now it's also red. Rounding out the top of D tier in 18th spot, we have the Dominican Republic. Honestly, not a bad flag without the coat of arms. I like the cross design, the prominent colors. It's honestly a lot like some European countries. The blue represents liberty, the white salvation, and red represents the blood of heroes. Pretty cool, I would say. Just a shame you had to include the coat of arms. Alright, moving up into C tier, we have a familiar but not too familiar Honduras flag. Unoriginal? Yes. It's one coat of arms away from dropping into D tier, but alas, I will stick with my principles. In place of a coat of arms, Honduras opted to put 5 stars to represent the 5 countries of the Federal Republic of Central America. Too bad their flag isn't 5 stars. Ayo! Oh, Costa Rica. You had so much potential, being the only country of the Federal Republic of Central America to break away from the basic blue-white-blue design. But this flag is just underwhelming. Don't get me wrong, there's beauty in simplicity, but I just don't know this is it. It's just kind of forgettable. That said, there is a lot of symbolism in the colors. The blue alludes to the sky, the white represents joy, freedom, and peace, and the red has this neat dual meaning. On one side meaning the warmth of its people, and on the other it also means the blood shed by the heroes defending the country. Trinidad and Tobago. No. Trinidad and Tobago. This flag is pretty basic, but also kind of cool looking, with the red possibly representing the warmth of the sun, the vitality of the nation, and the friendliness of its people. As for the stripe, well, that's never actually been explained, but since it was one of the first flags designed in the Caribbean, it kind of became a staple characteristic among other countries in the following decades. The Bahamas. That's a country. Here's their flag. Happy? I'm not. I am tepid about the Bahamian flag. It's not bad. Pretty straightforward. Established in 1973 after separating from Britain. The blue represents the water, and the yellow, the sand. In that black triangle, the black triangle? Well, my friend, that triangle represents the strength of their people. Cool. St. Kitts and Nevis is the smallest country in terms of population, but their flag is pretty solid looking. The two stars represent St. Kitts and Nevis respectively, but also the themes of hope and liberty. The green symbolizes the country's fertile land, while the red alludes to their bloodshed in the fight against the UK for independence. The yellow stripes are rays of sunshine, while the black represents the African heritage of the people who live there. No complaints about this flag. It's just solid. Rounding out C tier, we have Jamaica. I love this color scheme for some reason. It's a really nice flag to look at. The black represents the creativity and strength of its people, and honestly, I kind of love that they chose black to represent creativity. You don't see that a lot. Anyway, the gold alludes to the sunlight and natural beauty of the country, and the green signifies hope and agricultural resources. Moving into the bottom of B tier, we have Cuba, and I know Cuba's flag doesn't look all that special, but it kind of has a neat story, which, yes, does contribute to a flag's ranking. Anyway, the Cuban flag was first sewn and flown in the 1800s in New York City, of all places. It was made by anti-Spanish Cuban exiles. There's a lot more history behind it that I'll link in the description, but the three blue stripes on the flag represent the three military districts of Spanish-dominated Cuba. The white signifies purity and the patriotic cause, and finally, the single white star represents independence. Taking the number 10 spot on our list, we have St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The more I look at this flag, the more it grows on me. It's unique, it's neat, it's memorable. The flag was adopted in 1985 after gaining independence from the UK. The symbolic colors are pretty basic, with the blue representing the sky, the yellow the sand, and the green vegetation. But this part in the middle is what gets me. 3 green diamonds in the shape of a V, and you know what the V stands for? It's not victory, it's Vincent. They basically signed their name on their own flag, but not in an obnoxious way by using their coat of arms. And honestly, it looks pretty damn good. Alright, let's see. Number 9, we have this little country called the United States. The current flag has been in use since the totally peaceful introduction of Hawaii as a state in the 1950s, but back in the 1700s, when an earlier version of the flag was in use, the colors didn't really have symbolism until a member of the Continental Congress was like, I think the white should signify purity and innocence, and the red can be honor and valor, and the blue, what if that was like vigilance and justice? And everyone was like, yeah, man, sure. Anyway, the stars on the top left represent each of the 50 states, and the 13 red and white lines signify the original 13 colonies. Panama's flag is up next, and it's pretty simple, but also still kind of cool looking, being divided into quarters. The colors and stars represent the 2 dominant political parties at the time. Red for liberals and blue for conservatives. The white between represents the peace between the 2 political parties, which honestly is a pretty cool concept. Alright, so Mexico is next, and yeah, I know, okay, I see that coat of arms too, but just listen. Unlike the other countries that use their forgettable coat of arms as a crutch, Mexico's is awesome, and it is doing a lot of heavy lifting here because without it, it's basically Italy. I mean, just look at it. That is an eagle with a snake in its beak on a cactus, and it's from a foundation story from the Aztec Empire dating back to 1325. The only way that could be cooler is if the eagle were holding a sword and also Keanu Reeves was there. Am I a hypocrite for not ranking them in D tier? Yeah, probably. But without it, the flag would be pretty boring, and also Italy. Oh, and the colors mean stuff too. The green represents independence, the white is symbolic of the Roman Catholic Church, and the red represents the Union. Good symbolism, kick-ass coat of arms. Rounding out B tier, we have St. Lucia, a country you've probably never heard of, but its flag? Simple, but it stands out. It's unique, and capturing both is no easy task, yet here we are. The blue field signifies the Caribbean Sea, and these two triangles represent the two volcanoes on the island. That's it. That's all the symbolism. It's great. Sneezing into A tier and the top 5, we have Antigua and Barbuda. The reason why I placed them in A tier is because they have both a cool design and a cool story. So, after gaining independence from the UK in 1967, there was a contest held to design the new flag. Over 500 entries were submitted, but the winner was this art teacher who didn't submit his design until the very last day, and it took him 30 minutes to make. So all the symbolism I'm about to describe was made in 30 minutes. Let's start with the colors. The blue represents hope. Black alludes to the soil and the country's African heritage, while the white represents the sand. This red V does stand for victory, with the red being chosen to represent the bloodshed of their slave forefathers. Finally, this 7-pointed star represents the dawn of a new era. 30 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 30 minutes. At number 4, we have Canada. Oh, Canada. This is such a good flag. It's simple, but it represents who you are as a country so well. Okay, here's the rundown. So Canada didn't actually get this maple leaf flag until 1965, but the maple leaf has been a Canadian symbol since at least 1868, and its red colors is said to reflect the sacrifice of Canadian soldiers during World War I. So, why is it so high on this list? Because it has the trifecta of simplicity, memorable design, and an interesting backstory. Number 3 goes to Grenada's flag, and yeah, we'll get to that thing in a second, but let's first appreciate how well designed this flag is. It genuinely looks cool, almost like a flag within a flag. It was adopted in 1974, after gaining independence from the UK. The red symbolizes courage, yellow wisdom and warmth, and green for vegetation. The outer stars represent the 6 parishes of the country, with the center star representing the capital, St. George. And this little thing? It's a nutmeg, which is apparently the most famous product on the island. I love this little inclusion so much. It's a very, very good touch. And it turns the flag from just being cool looking into something with personality. Alright, number 2 is Barbados. Is it because of the trident? Yes, it is 100% because of the trident. So the blue represents the sea and the sky, and the yellow is for the country's sandy beaches. Pretty straightforward flag stuff, but let's talk about this trident. It's actually the broken trident of Neptune. You know, the Roman god of the sea. And it signifies Barbados breaking off from the UK. This is a literal breakup trident of Neptune. And how is that not the coolest flag on this list? Well, the only country breaking into S tier is Dominica. It may be the second least populated country on this list, but folks, we need to talk about this bird in a second. The flag was designed in 1978 after gaining independence from you-know-who. The green represents the country's forests, the 10 stars allude to the 10 parishes of the country, while the yellow, white, and black signify the country's diverse population and landscape. Okay, the bird. It's actually a kind of parrot, and it's Dominica's national bird. Honestly, that alone would easily put this flag into A tier, but I have not told you what the red represents, because it represents socialism. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just your typical bird on a flag. This is a bird of the working class, a bird of economic equality, and a bird that says it's okay to eat the rich. And that, folks, is why Dominica has the best flag in North America. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's a little bit strange and not the most creatively difficult endeavor I've ever taken on, but I had a lot of fun making this. So if you enjoyed it, please let me know, and maybe I'll make more of this stuff in the future. Check out my Patreon and have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.